Okay, so what you're going to need, Ted, is just a Phillips bit, which I know you have. I've seen you use it, and you'll also need a square tip, just the number 2 square tip, very common, just that square tip bit. So those are tools you'll need. You'll also probably want to just have a razor knife, and this will be quite a ways down in the process, but I'm trying to get all the tools ready. We will have also sent you, of course, a new side rail, which will look like this. And then we will have sent you the new strong arm, or the female pivot point, a male pivot point. I'm also going to have them send you a couple of latches, and I'll explain that here in just a minute. So the very first step that we want to do is to remove this mattress decking. And so I'm just going to go around the perimeter and take all of these screws out of this mattress decking, including the 2 that are attaching this this mattress strap. And so I'll just work my way around and do release all of them all the way around. But the other thing you'll want to do is, you may have already cut this piece out, but you'll want to release this strong arm, this female pivot point, which has 4 big screws that go down in. They're Phillips. And then the 4 big screws that go into the side rail that we're going to be replacing. And so I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take all of the other screws out. You'll also have to pull out, obviously, the other female pivot point and such. Okay, now I'm just going to remove this ball stud, this plate here. And they're just the Phillips screws on the inside and the barrel nuts on the outside. We'll move this to the new part. So I'm going to remove those. The back 2 are some screws. Just going to take those out until this part is completely off. And now what we're going to do is, you can go ahead and pull these barrels out too, because you'll use them as you replace the part. Now what we're going to do is, up here on the front edge, there are a couple of screws that we're just going to pull out. They have that decorative washer. And on the back side of this same board, there are 3 screws back here that are the same type of screw. They don't have the decorative washer. And those could be a square tip. These ones. These are actually technically the square tip. You can sometimes use a Phillips, but if you have that square tip, those come off really easy with square tip. Okay, now this is the locking mechanism that as you pull that leg down, it pulls this string, and that's what releases that lock. And for right now, all we're going to do is, if you look down inside there's a black screw right in the middle, and that's holding this string in place. I'm going to release that black screw, which is actually a self-tapping metal screw. And then we're going to take this string and pull it back through. And then I'm just going to take either a screw or the end of the screwdriver, and I'm just going to kind of hit into that area. And what will happen is this lock will just pop out. Now I'm going to have Jody send you some new locks too, so you have a full length string to replace. You can do it with this; it just makes it a little harder. So now that we've got that lock out of the way, now we're going to switch over to the square tip bit, and I'm just going to be taking out these screws that are screwing through this inner frame. And this is a square tip. And just pop in. There's about 5 or 6 of them. And once you have all of those out, and you've got the screws out of the back that we took out earlier and the front, you should just be able to kind of knock that, and this will come out. There are some little nails in there that are just used for positioning when we're manufacturing. You don't need them. If one of those nails happen to be in your way, you can just take a pair of pliers and bend it back and forth, and it will break off flush with the surface. So that's the next step. Okay. So I'm going to take these pliers. There's a nail here, and I'm just bending it in a wide bend. And what happens is that nail just breaks off, and it's below the surface, so it doesn't get in our way. You may have to do that, you may not. Anyway, so we're just breaking these little nails off. And like I said, as you move it back and forth, this one I don't have quite as much room to do it, but you can see the process. You just kind of move it until it will break eventually. There. Oop. This one's a little stubborn. This is the new part. It'll either have a T or may even say top, and it'll just slide right back into position. You'll just want to line that up with everything, and then we're going to go ahead and run these screws back into these same holes. Just get them to tighten down. So I'll replace all these screws. Let me figure out what I want to do next. Now I'm going to be putting these screws back in. I found that if you turn the driver backwards for just a second first, it'll help align this board better. So I'm going to put it into that hole, and I'm spinning the drill backwards, and it's actually just making a tiny little hole in this board. And now when I thread that in, that will line up really nicely. So just want to make sure everything's lined up, and then I'm just going to run it back in. Third one. Oh, it fell on the floor. I'll find that one. And then what I'm going to do is do the same thing on the front edge with the washers. So these are the bigger long screws, and this goes back to the Phillips bit. And I'm doing the exact same thing up here. I'm just making sure that I've got this board nice and lined up. I'm spinning that while I'm pushing a little bit and creating a little bit of a hole. And then I'll just tighten those down. Okay, now if you've pulled off both of these, one from either side, now we got to make sure you're getting it on the right side. If you look back, this ball stud coming through should be correspond with the T. So and the arrow here is the back of the bed box. So it looks just like this, because it can be put on opposite. So that's what this end should look like. And now I'm just going to slide these barrel nuts back into the three holes on either side. And then these machine screws will go in. Those three holes, and then the back two holes are the little 3/4 inch black wood screws. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and thread those in. Okay. Go. Okay, now we're going to have sent you new locks. Now the important thing is that you get the slope of the lock oriented properly. So you just thread that the cord through the hole, and then once that gets threaded in, you're going to take that lock and you're going to make sure that the slope is pointing up like this, so that when it goes in, it locks. And then the important thing on this is when you go to push that in, you're only pushing it in until you're just barely behind this front panel. So I'm like about maybe a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch, but there's still some of this reveal that's poking that gives us the distance for it to latch in. Then you're going to go through these two screws that act as kind of a pulley for it, and then I'm going to go down through this hole. And then what you're going to do, because we'll attach this in just a second when we're on the front of the bed, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this leg forward and drop that through there and let it just latch back up in. We just want to be able to get to that when we're on the front side. So now that's all correct. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the mattress decking back in. I will collect that little screw that will be used for attaching the string. It's the black one that's kind of a self-tapping screw. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the mattress decking back in. So these mattress straps, this is the lock up here. The mattress straps, you'll find the holes, but they sit at about basically a 45-degree angle across the front of this front corner. That holds the mattress in place. So I'm going to get those back in, and I'm just using the same holes I did. I took it out, so I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to put the plate back in place just through the hole. And now the important thing is as you're attaching these big heavy screws, there are some that are a little bit longer than the other, and it's important that they be right. The longer ones go down into that big frame. So I'm driving the 4 big long ones down. And then I'm going to use 4 of the shorter ones to be drilled into this side here. So they're not long enough that they'll pop through. So I'll just put all those in. Okay, so now I've got the bed standing back up, and you can do this after the bed's installed. You don't have to do this right now, just so long as you can get to this string. That's the important part. So this is the string that I left long. And here's that self-tapping screw. There's also a little a silver washer on it. It's like a star washer on there too. I forgot to mention that when I took it out. And what I'm going to do, now there's already a hole there. All I'm going to do is take this string and I'm going to run this screw back into that same hole. But I'm going to take the string, oops. All right. I'm going to take that string and get the string, before I put this in very far, what I'm going to do is just barely get it started back into that same hole. And then I want to take that string and pull it up and around that screw. And by the way, I'm pulling out on it. So I'm pulling it hard enough that latch is in now. And I'm making sure that washer is below the string too. So it kind of bites into the string. And after I've got that pulled tight, then I'm just going to tighten this screw down. And then once that's done, you can come to the side and make sure that latch is pulling up. Now, see, I haven't got it quite pulled tight enough. We want this latch to come in, to be pulled in all the way. So I'm just going to loosen that. And I'm just going to pull that latch until that latch is in all the way. And then I'll tighten it back down. Okay, now when you put the leg down, the latch pops out, pull up, the latch disappears. And that's correct. Now, after you've got that, you can just go ahead and cut that string. I generally leave about an inch and a half or so. And now that string will be out of your way. Just kind of tuck it back in. You might want to adjust that screw just a little bit, but just kind of move that back and forth. And now that top box will be ready to go.